It's match preview, the first one of the new shiny Premier League season with Tom. Tom, how are you, mate? You keeping well?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, I'm good. It's been a decent summer. My weekends haven't been ruined, so we're back at it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
what about
exactly.
yourself? You good?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I'm so ready for my weekends to be ruined once again by the love that is West Ham United. Yeah, so it's Sunderland versus West Ham in a opening game of the Premier League season. Not an easy one, you'd feel like, but having said that, as we'll talk about in this preview, what games are easy these days. Not very, very, very much the case in the Premier League. It's always going to be a challenge wherever you go. Before I get into it, though, if you're new to the channel, do subscribe. It takes 2 seconds to do so, and we really appreciate your support. Also, we've got a competition running on BETMATE at the moment. So I'll put a link in the description below and a code. And you enter the code, go into the league. It's free to enter. There's £100 pot in there for that league. And basically, the prize is spread out for the first 20 places. So there's a chance if you're in the first top 20, you win some money. And also, there's a signed Julian or Trevor Brooking picture up for grabs. So go and check it out and make sure you click the link because that's what we get. We'll pat on the head if you go and use that. And then, as I say, free to enter and a chance to win a bit of money and some free memorabilia. So what more could you ask for, Tom? What more could you want to start a season? Apart from a win, obviously, that would be quite nice.
Yeah, exactly. It would be nice for 3 points. But yeah, Trevor Brooking or Julian signed photo would be pretty handy as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, quite nice, isn't it? You know, not too bad. I want one. I really want to get like either a man cave or something for the garden. When I do move to a new house eventually, that's what I want to get. And these sort of things I would like a nice bit of signed memorabilia to put on the wall and stuff. So that'd be quite cool. Right, mate, we face Sunderland. Obviously, newly promoted Sunderland. Not an easy game to go into. You know, it's going to be an intense atmosphere, as you can imagine. I think 8 years have been away now for the top flight, Tom. It's felt like quite some time. And I want to get your thoughts on them, but I've got to be honest. I'm quite pleased to see Sunderland back up. I felt for them really, where they've suffered, haven't they, over the last few years. So it's nice to see them back up. What do you make of Sunderland and their business so far as well this summer?
Yeah, I mean, very much mirror your thoughts. I think Sunderland, proper football club, definitely deserve to be in the Premier League. And it's like you say, it's been a few years without them, and we've seen a few teams sort of go up and down. Norwich, Fulham. It's nice to see a team that we haven't seen for a while in the Premier League. So, yeah, good to have them back. Proper stadium as well. Stadium alike, good fan base. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the game. And yeah, in terms of transfer market, it's interesting. They've sort of taken the last successful team to sort of stay up, which was Nottingham Forest a few years ago, where you just feel like they've thrown so much shit at the wall and see what sticks, basically. Nottingham Forest had that same sort of type of strategy where they just signed so many players and you just thought, how are they going to fit all these in? And Sunderland, not quite to that extreme, but they've got a lot of players in. They've signed a lot of players and they've definitely not rested on their laurels and thought, like some teams do, well, this is the team that's got us up, so let's trust this team. They've seen the sort of lack of success from teams being promoted in the Premier League over the last few years and thought, we're not doing that. We're just going to see who we can bring in. Obviously, they lost Joe Bellingham, which was a big loss. But yeah, I feel like if you're going to have a go and bring as many players as you can in, particularly decent quality. There's been a few names that we were linked with. Obviously, the midfielder, I think Diari's name is, I think we were linked with him as well. So yeah, I don't mind it as a transfer strategy, to be honest. Just let's see what we can do. Just try and get as many players in through the door and see who comes up trumps for us in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's I think I'm impressed with what Sunderland have done. I think they've shown this ambition. I think they've shown a desire to want to stay in the Premier League, and I think that's it's so important. It's such a tough league to come up into. It really is. Even now, the teams that you probably look at previously possibly and think, yeah, we might be able to finish above them, we might be able to catch them. They're so much better than they used to be. So it makes it all the more difficult for these newly promoted sides to come up and challenge. It really is difficult. So yeah, I'm impressed with them. They've gone about their business well. Diarra, they brought in that we were looking at. Granit Xhaka as well. I'm very impressed with. I think to get him over the line, considering the fact he's got Premier League experience and done so well in Germany, I just think it's really good, and I'm pleased to see it from Sunderland. I think they've done very well so far in the market. But having said that, you don't want to get too carried away, I think, with the sort of, look at the signings we've made. It's going to be brilliant. We've been down this path before, just recently, when everyone was telling us we won the window and West Ham are going to be challenging top up, and we ended up having a torrid season. So it's it doesn't always mean that you're going to suddenly have a great season. I think they're going to still find the Premier League very, very tough this season. But that's to be expected. Tom, what's your thoughts on them surviving this season? Do you think that it's achievable for them at the moment? Or I know it's very difficult. Haven't kicked a ball yet, but what's your thoughts on it so far?
Yeah, like you say, it's going to be massively tough. I actually think that of the 3 teams coming up, they've probably got the best chance, which is probably slightly controversial opinion, seeing how far they were off Leeds in terms of points last season, and Burnley. So slightly controversial, but I think that the players they've brought in and that stadium are light, the atmosphere, I think Sunderland are going to be well up for it, and their home form is going to be massively important this season. So I think they'll give it a good go. Obviously, we'll come on to West Ham in a second, my sort of predictions for us. And the other sort of teams around there. But I think if one team's going to stay up from the Premier League, I've just got a feeling it might be Sunderland. So I think they're going to be there or thereabouts. I don't think we're going to see a Southampton on our hands from last season, or even a Leicester. I do think they're going to give it more of a go. I think they're going to have a little bit more about them. It's just whether they can assemble, of the players they've brought in, the players they've already got, they can assemble a team to get out there. And I think goals is going to be a big thing from them. Who's going to bring the goals? And I know they've got a few decent strikers on their book. So, yeah, I make them an outside bet to stay up.
Yeah, I think I've seen a few people say that. I think if they're going to pick one, Sunderland would be the most likely. I think the signings have helped that as well. I think that ambition they're showing, I think, gives that kind of slight level of confidence they might be able to do something. I'm not so sure, to be honest, Tom. I don't really see any 3 of them staying up yet at the moment, just because I just think that step is just so big. I really hope it does, though, because I love Sunderland. I think I've really got a real soft spot for that club. I think they are a wonderful football club, so much tradition. And I'm a friend of mine at school when I was younger. He was a massive Sunderland fan, so I was just kind of around it a little bit when I was obviously a big West Ham fan myself and going to games and that. But he was the same as Sunderland. He used to travel all over the place and watching them. So we used to talk about football a lot. So I've always had that sort of slight soft spot for Sunderland, wanting to do well. So yeah, look, I really hope they do it, but it's going to be a real slog for them, I think, this season. On to West Ham now, mate. But before we do, new mug, mate. Look at that bad boy. Ironborn. My new Ironborn mug. Not you, not that mug. No, not Tom. This one. That's the one we're talking about. That mug. Yeah. So this is from Iron Threads. There's a 10% discount Iron Threads at the moment. Go and check it out. Link in the description below. Go and check it out. They've got some great stuff over there. They've got some new bits coming out as well very soon. So yeah, it's one to keep an eye on. And I know Tom's been buying a couple of bits and pieces from them as well. I've noticed on a couple of his videos. So yeah. There you go. Right, Tom, West Ham, what's your feelings going into this one? Obviously, new fresh season. Are we going to see a new fresh West Ham? And is it going to be a far better campaign than the one we experienced last time around?
At the moment, I don't think so. And I hate to say that. I don't really want to come on like these videos and be negative, but I'm really struggling at the moment. I've got to be honest with you. I went into this window thinking we need a lot to sort out. And we've done a bit, but we haven't really solved the main issues. That being for me, centre of midfield, I feel like we are still really going to be carrying players in the middle of the park this season. Like we were last season, I felt like we just got through last season to some extent. And I was hoping for a real revamp in the middle of the park, and it's just not happened yet. It could happen, but I feel like we've left it a little bit too late, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by the transfer window. I like Juve. I think he's a good signing. He's going to bring energy. He's going to bring an outlet down that left-hand side like we saw from Wan-Bissaka last season. And if we're playing with a back 5 or back 3, whatever you want to call it, I think it makes sense to bring someone in that position. And I think, he's going to offer us a lot going forward this season. But yeah, I really struggle with this. I've got to be honest. I'm predicting a bad season for us unless we really get it right in the last few weeks of the window. But I'm worried. I'm worried how we're going to keep the ball. We see it in pre-season with the back 3. They're okay on the ball. None of them are poor on the ball, but I worry about them breaking through the lines. We still don't have a 6. We was looking at Angel Gomez last season. I feel like that's the type of player we needed to bring in. We haven't as of yet. So building play, I worry about us. And then I feel like we're going to play counter-attacking football. And then as we saw, in some of the preseason games, we saw Bowen and Fulkrug a little bit isolated, and we sort of hoping them to can sort of concoct something up together. So yeah, I still feel like we've got a massive lack of balance in the team. We don't have physicality, we don't have pace, And I think a big part of this season is revolves around two players, and that's Somerville coming back and providing something completely different to what we don't have, and Paqueta. Hopefully we get a really good season out of him. If he turns up, I think one of those midfield three, he can push us forward a little bit and provide us hopefully some positivity going forward. So hate to be the doom and gloom. It sounds so negative, but that's where I'm at the moment. It could change in the last few weeks of the window.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will change. I think West Ham will address the midfield situation. I think I agree with you. It's not, like you say, you wanted to get it addressed, but I do think we need to bear in mind that the window isn't closed yet. There is still a few weeks to go. It is just frustrating because we're about to start our season. It would have been nice to have had this dealt with. I think that the midfield is such a vital cog, and we needed to get it sorted out. But I'm still hopeful. I think West Ham will get it addressed. I'm pleased with most of the business we've done. I think Callum Wilson aside, I mean, although I've got to be honest, I'm quite impressed with his personality, what I'm seeing behind the scenes. And apparently he's very popular and all that kind of stuff and experience. So maybe that it should be a worthwhile signing overall for this season. But certainly Hermansen, I'm delighted about, and I think that'll be. He's got to be straight in the first team for me, and I'm sure he will be, to be honest. I'm actually feeling quite optimistic in terms of West Ham and this season. I don't think it's going to be as bleak as people think. I think in the majority, I think it'll be better than last season. I just think I think if you look at pre-season, you've only got to look at that and compare them to last season of how different we seem to be in terms of our organisation. We just seem like the players know what their responsibilities are. The camp seems happier. Everyone seems to understand what's going on. I don't know. There just seems to be a better feeling around West Ham at the moment. That's all I keep hearing, and I'm hoping that's going to resonate in terms of our performances. Right, mate, let's go into the team because there's not much to talk about. The only injury news we do have is that Somerville is unavailable. As we know, he'll be back. I think he's predicted to be back after the international break, maybe sooner. And also, George Urphy is out at the moment, nursing an ankle injury. But apart from that, mate, everybody else is available. So let's go through the team. I think it's right to do it as what we think Potter will set it up like in terms of, I think he's going to go 5-3-2. That's pretty much how he's going to play, isn't it? I'm guessing that's going to be the system he's going to play. I think we're going to see quite a lot of that for a while until we start adapting. Once we've got that system sorted, then I think he will start moving on to trying different things. But I think he wants to get this one nailed. So, goalkeeper, who are you having him?
I think it's got to be Hermansen. You've got to, start up on the right foot. Hopefully, he's going to be the number one. I think, I was talking about earlier there, playing out from the back. If we are going to try and play out from the back, I think he's going to be a big upgrade on what we've had with Ariola. Made a couple of mistakes last season. So, yeah, I think you've got to start with Hermansen and go from there.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Hermansen for me, I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. Actually, looking forward to seeing how that's how different we sort of appear with him in the team. I think having someone that like him who can distribute the ball and who's going to bring in the pressure as well and open up some space for us to hopefully exploit against Sunderland. I think it'll be interesting to see how we play actually. And he's been with the team a little while now as well, so I get the feeling he'll be quite ready for this. So yeah, looking forward to that. So you're back five then, mate. What are you going for?
So Wan-Bissaka and Juve as the wing backs, fairly predictably, and to be fair, the centre back three as well: Kilman, Agerd, and Todibo. Obviously, we've got Mavropanos, but we're not many options other than that. I think that's something we might want to address again in the window in the few weeks left. But I think that's the three they're probably going to play. Have played in pre-season, so yeah, we'll stick with that.
Yeah, okay, I'm totally agreeing with you. Yeah, that's the same lineup for me. And then this is the tricky bit now, is the midfield. This is where we are struggling. I take it you're having Freddie Potts in there?
Yep, Freddie Potts for me. Yeah, definitely got to start. Had a good pre-season.
Yeah, agreed. I think he's been fabulous, actually. I've been really impressed with him. I take it you're keeping Lucas Paqueta in there as number 10 sort of role?
Yep, definitely. Yeah, Paqueta's got to start for me, yeah.
And then this is then the third one. Who are you having as this? Who's partnering Potts in the midfield for you? Because this is where the problem is, isn't it?
It's where the big problem is. I would like us. I agree with what you're saying. We're literally going to definitely start a 5-3-2. I would like us to do the box and then bring Somerville back when he's back from fitness, and until then, actually blood Guilherme in one of those 10 places if we can, maybe. But anyway, we're not going with that. We're playing a 5-3-2 probably. I think it's going to be James Ward-Prowse. I would probably go with Souček, to be honest with you. I think just physical threat in both boxes. I don't have much between the two in terms of overall football. I think James Ward-Prowse is obviously good from set pieces, but I'm really struggling. I would have gone at Edson Alvarez. He would have been my pick, but it sounds like he's surplus to requirement. So there's no point
Yeah.
me even saying Edson Alvarez because I can't see him starting. So I'd go with Souček out of a pretty poor pick for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm kind of I've gone for Ward-Prowse in my lineup, only because to be honest with you, I don't really think he's done a lot wrong of late. Ward-Prowse, I think he actually had a pretty decent pre-season. I know he gets a fair bit of stick, but I feel like he's kind of the fall guy at the moment for the frustration of the midfield. So it's like he's just the target. That's the problem. He's the issue, kind of thing. But actually, I actually think he ain't a bad player to have around. I think he worked. Although what I like about Ward-Prowse, he works very hard. And I think that's what sometimes you see. What you see is what you get. The only issue with him is he's just so slow. That's the problem, and he can be overrun very easily. But having said that, you could say the same for Souček. But like you say with Souček, you just feel like he offers the goals. That's what you're going to get, especially in these sort of games. He's very useful. But yeah, I've gone for Ward-Prowse, but I understand why you've gone Souček, and I'll take it for Bowen and Fulkrug up front.
Yeah, again, not many options. I certainly won't be starting Callum Wilson. So yeah, them two. And I think they have looked good as a pairing in pre-season. So let's really hope. I mean, we're putting all our eggs in Nicholas Fulkrug's basket this season, which is a gamble. But let's hope he can be as fit as often as he possibly can. And yeah, I think if he is, he'll get goals. I think he's a goal scorer. Is how fit he can stay throughout the season. But yeah, him and Bowen up front for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, mate. We pretty much got the exact same team, apart from the midfield, which we, I think there's going to always be a debate with West Ham midfield at the moment. Now, how are you feeling going into the game? What's your feelings in terms of score prediction? This is the big one now. Come on, Tom. This is where we need the big positive Tom to come forward and say we're going to smash it. Go on. What are you thinking?
I think 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1. I think Sunderland will start well. The enthusiasm, first game back to the Premier League, they'll get at us. They'll press us all over the pitch. I think we'll make some mistakes. They'll get their first goal, and then they'll start to feel it in the second half. They'll feel their legs go a little bit. They'll start blowing, and we'll come into the game a lot more. And I think I've got a feeling for a Nicholas Fulkrug late equaliser, and then we sort of take the point. And then we're the stronger team in the second half, and we try and get the second goal, but we don't quite, and we finish 1-1. That's my prediction.
That's a hell of a prediction. I like that one. That's literally. I feel like I just watched the whole game. That was good. I'm actually quite confident for this one, Tom. I actually think, as much as it's been a tough fixture, I feel like I hate saying that now. It's a tough game. It's a hard game. You say that every week with the Premier League. There's no games that you go, yeah, it's a bit of doddle. I actually think this game really suits us. I think Graham Potter's West Ham, for what we've seen of him so far, we are much better away from home than we are at home. I feel like we manage occasions pretty well under Potter. We've been to some very intense grounds and played very well and coped with it fine. I remember Liverpool, we pretty much played them off the pitch, off the pitch a bit much, but we certainly were the better team for the vast majority of the game. I don't know, it's frustrating that we lost it because we didn't deserve to. Arsenal, I felt we played really well. I just feel like we just seem to set up very well away from home. I think those occasions work for us. I think we've got the experience out there, and although it's going to be a bit of an intense atmosphere, we've got enough experience in that team to cope with that. I think we're going to win, Tom. I think we're going to get 3 points, and I'm going to say West Ham are going to win 2-0. I just think, in the grand scheme of it, I think Sunderland, this is probably a good time to play them as well. Although it's the first game of the season, a lot of new players, time to gel. We know how long this stuff takes. It's very unlikely you're going to bring loads of new players and it all clicks and you'll play an amazing straight away. It takes a bit of time. And I still think there's quite a fair few championship players in that team. I just think I think we might have a bit too much from Tom. I really do. So yeah, I'm going to say 2-0. But I want this to be so when you get to Italy on your holidays, you get off that plane and you see that I was absolutely spot on or got it horribly wrong. One of the two.
Yeah, I hope you're right, Mark, to be honest with you. I don't want to be negative. I want to see us have a really good season. Loads of people have predicted, like pundits and stuff, to be one team maybe going down. And I'd love to shut them up, to be honest, and prove myself wrong. But we'll wait and see. But yeah, hopefully we can get 3 points.
Absolutely. Well, look, have a good one, mate, and we'll catch up with you. Well, you're away now, aren't you, for a week? So we'll catch up with you when you come back. But fingers crossed. Yeah. Fingers crossed, mate. It's a nice start to the season, but let's wait and see. Come on, you irons.